Gentlemen, you are watching the Potsy and Tino show.
It's the Potsy and Tino show. Talk the facts and let opinions blow. Laughs, hot takes, and maybe a rant. Two best buds with a mic and a plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you for joining us for the 411th episode of the Potsy and Tino show here on YouTube. That's right, 411 episodes on YouTube.
That's on YouTube, so that's not counting the
That's not counting how many we actually did as a podcast before it.
Wow.
Like, yeah, we're slowly becoming the longest weekly episodic.
I wouldn't say all that, but okay.
And because we passed the 410 episode mark, we launched a brand new theme song tonight. So
it wasn't a hole, and I thought we were going to sew, but I like that. I like where we spliced it in.
Yeah. So
now I can't say thank you to Adam's House Cats. For 99. That's my 99's going. 99.
So
we're retiring to 99 on a 400 episode. No more 99.
For everybody that watches all the way to the end of the episode, there is a Jones in there. No 99, but there is a Jones in there. But yeah, I figured for the intro, it's better just to get right and get started, and then for the outro to go ahead and play the entire song out. Although you know, because you and I sit here in StreamYard a little bit afterwards, like a little behind the scenes footage here for you folks. Tino and I typically hop on here a little bit after the whole thing's over. So I normally cut the final song off before we get there. Tonight, I might let it run all the way through just because I want everybody to actually hear the new theme song, because the Potsy and Tino show has a brand new theme song, and I kind of like it.
I like that version better. Remember, I'm glad I because so what Rob did was he went to, and he sent me a couple of different renditions. No, he sent me one. I was like, yeah. I said, but I want more of a 90s alt rock kind of Gin Blossom Sooty and the Blowfish kind of, and then that one came up. I'm like, that's the one. That's the one.
Which is funny because as I was trying to get that, it kept giving us, like, I don't know, it felt like Offspring.
Yeah.
And it kept feeling like that, and I was like, well, that's all right, but let's see if we can work on it a little bit more and try to actually like get what we're looking for. And I think we found it.
I was like, that's it. And I guess it's fitting because I was binge watching. I finished binge watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So they said 99 for the last time, so I guess my 99's gone too.
Well, now it's not a song that people are currently able to purchase. Sorry. We'll see what we can do about that. Maybe get it up there. It says not for commercial use, but we're not paid for the show, so I don't think that's commercial. So I think we're all right. But anyways, Tino, you and I, we're brought to you by the Pots and Pans Network. Our theme song used to be Adam's House Cat, now is the Potsy and Tino show theme song. We always start the show with a little segment called "What's Up with You?" So what's going on, sir?
Let's see. Came back from Hickory this weekend. Had a good time both nights.
Good.
Nicole's feeling sick, so I'm like, okay, you keep that jungle right there because I got a show Friday and I can't afford to get sick. Trying to think of what else is going on, man. Just getting back in the swing of things. Next week's going to be a short week because of the holiday. It falls on Thursday, so Juneteenth falls on Thursday. But not only is Juneteenth a national holiday, it is also our 21st wedding anniversary. So it's cool. I don't have to work there. And then she leaves next Saturday to go to New York for like a week and a half, just me and Matthew. And then she'll come back like the third or somewhere there. Then we leave the fifth to go to the beach for the week, like our annual beach trip. So we got a lot coming up this next couple of weeks, and Father's Day is Sunday. So a lot's going on. A lot's coming up.
So I was thinking next week we might have a special guest on the show, and not somebody that we typically have on, but my buddy Junior Radke, the artist of Dread Mutt,
Hmm.
will actually be coming to Charlotte with me for Heroes Con, which is next weekend, the 20th through the 23rd. So I figured, what better way to acclimate people watching the show than by giving them the opportunity to meet the artist of the book? So, and by the way that we were able to get that new theme song was because he gave me some ideas of how to do it, and that's where it came from. So he actually has quite a few songs that he's come up with. I might have sent you one or two of his. I don't know. I don't remember if I did. But
Well, my friend Jeff D, who used to play with me down here, he messes with a lot of that. So he'll send me stuff because I recognize the company name. I'm like, oh, this is what Jeff D uses. So
but anyway, like we got Dreadmutt coming out here shortly. And Tino, I sent you something today. What did I send you?
Funko Pops, they're so fucking cool. I was kind of hurt that you didn't do a Tino the Plumber Funko Pop. I was looking. I was like, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's because I'm black.
I didn't even think about that. But the crazy, so folks, what he's talking about is we know that I am against using AI for artwork in comics. Totally against it. I want artists to actually get paid for their work and actually do their work, right? But since I don't know anybody that can actually create Funko Pops, I decided randomly today and yesterday to just start putting different characters I've created into ChatGPT to see whether or not I could create Funko Pops.
They look realistic. I was like, dude,
And they not only look real, they look like Funko Pops that people would see on the wall and they'd be like, I want that. Like the Zor that I did looks awesome. By the way, if you check out my Instagram's Rob Pochak, you can see them now. There's I think four or five of them that I've already put up there.
you could sell yours, but the other ones from the junior high horrors, you couldn't really sell them because wouldn't that be licensing and copyright and all that too? Because
See,
the reason why you can't, make a series or whatever.
so I actually spoke a little bit about that on my brand new Substack today, which, by
I
the
saw
way,
that too. I was like, what the fuck?
which is a basically a blog that you subscribe to. You can subscribe to it $5 monthly. Not really caring if it's about the money or not. I like to talk about what's going on with me, but I kind of feel like I need to keep it behind some sort of barrier to prevent it from getting out all over the internet, whatever. So I created that, but I was talking about it specifically that, like I came up with a couple new junior high horrors ideas. And the whole reason why I kind of stayed away from any new junior high horrors ideas was because I'm worried that at some point somebody at New Line Cinemas or Blumhouse or any of those different companies that own the rights to all these crazy horror films that I homaged my characters from could sit there, come at me, and claim that they own rights to any of that stuff. But part of
Mhm.
it, and I still made like those fake pop vinyls of JV, and I made Frederick. Mainly, I made Frederick because I wanted to see how well it would actually capture Eric's artwork as Frederick, right? And it looked pretty awesome. Like it really captured it. So I'm like, damn. And of course, what I told Tino, everybody, is that at some point, if I can afford a 3D printer, it might be something where I start making my own 3D printed Potsy vinyls
And I
rather
asked him,
than
I'm like, how much is that? And he goes, more than I have now. I mean,
more than I could afford at the moment. But at the same time, I totally was sitting there going, this would make sense. And as we all know, if it makes sense, it makes dollars. So it's something I'm considering. It's something that I'll think about. We'll see if and when I can actually make it happen.
I love it. I love it. It's gonna be so awesome. But you got to do it the plumber one.
Of
Even
course. Of
even if I
course,
got
at
even
some
like
point.
even if I got to pay for it, just for the one for myself. I think it'd be cool to have a Funko Pop of myself. That'd be damn awesome.
Of course, it would come. The plumber would be a character that we would actually do. But it would be Zor, then it would be like the Fly, then it would be the
Yeah,
Dust Bunny, then it would be Dusty, then it would
yeah.
be, you know, but yes. And I'm almost thinking of trying to figure out a way to make sure that the box has Potsy vinyl rather than Funko Pop on the box for them. So that way they can be fully branded and everything
Ooh,
my way. So, but it's just fun right now. It's literally something that I'm just like creating mock-ups for, but the mock-ups are so good that everybody that I've sent the mock-ups to, they're like, I want that. So
very
no,
good.
they're not real at the moment, but who knows? Maybe at some point, right? Um, Tino, we always try to go into our TV and movie watching. What you see this?
Helios.
What you see this week?
What did I see this week? I don't remember. It's just been everything because I've been so busy with work and getting ready to go to Hickory and stuff. The only thing I watched, and like I said, I finished watching. I went back to watching um, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Right? Oh, Ted. Did I tell you I finished Ted again?
The Tick?
Ted.
Oh,
TED.
the
I finished
cartoon,
that.
or no, no, the live action one.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I went back and binge watched that. Um, of course, I had to watch my show, Poker Face. Did you see that one this week?
I did.
Dressed up like Santa Claus. She's like, oh, that's freaky. Get that out of here.
I love how the dude is like all enamored with her and wants to go on a date, and she starts asking questions, and like, the guy who works for him is sitting there going, "What is the greatest Mission Impossible movie?"
Yes. You got past these tests and then I'll hook you up. I'm like, what?
And it's like, is he really trying to help her out, or is he trying to fuck her over? I didn't know.
Now,
Um,
here's
I think he was genuine. Uh,
that show, man. I just love that show.
it's so well written. I started, so I want to let everybody know. I watched The Ballerina, the new.
Oh, is that good?
I loved it. I had a long conversation with the artist that died hard about it because he
It's
was
in
like
the
John
theaters,
Wick
right?
universe. It's in
No, no, no.
theaters right
Okay. Okay.
now. I saw it Wednesday night. They did a premium screening of it. So like you could watch it on the one that's like Dolby Atmos and Dolby Sound, or you could watch it in IMAX at night, but you couldn't watch it on like the regular screens at night. Okay, whatever. I'll pay the $3 extra or whatever. Shit cost me $20 to go see the goddamn movie. Now, I had enough rewards points on my AMC rewards that I got my soda and my popcorn for free. So I only paid $20 to go see the movie, get a popcorn, get a soda, and I was good to go. So I didn't mind. Because I mean, a movie by yourself at this point, unless it's a matinee on Tuesdays where they're like, hey, we're gonna give you everything for almost nothing.
Yeah.
Is friggin' insane, right?
Well, I remember back during COVID, there was like Nicole was paying like $20, $25 to watch. I think they watched like Trolls, or it was something on Prime. I'm like, what the hell? She said, Tino, it's cheaper. All three of us, four of us, watched this movie. We got our own bathroom, we got our own food. $25 is cheaper than going to the movie theater. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right.
So it's funny you say that, because my buddy Johnny, I see him at Ruckus, and I go, I saw the ballerina. He goes, how was it? And he starts asking me all these questions. He goes, because it's available on Prime right now to buy. I said, no, the fuck it's not. And he goes, no, it really is. And you know what Prime has? They have one of those bullshit fake versions of the movie. It's called Ballerina Assassin, available for purchase right now for like $8. How many people do you think actually paid for that bullshit
And we're pissed off.
and are pissed off when and then when he went and he actually noticed that it said Ballerina from the World of John Wick, that one said pre-ordered today. I'll let you know, the movie itself is really good. It's a really good John Wick spinoff. Like, unlike the Continental TV series on Peacock, this really does have the life and the feel of John Wick, right? The difference is that John Wick is trying to get out, the ballerina's trying to get in. So that's the big difference about it. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I will say that I will say that it's hard to say that the plot is like a full thought out plot rather than just saying it's a pretty thin plot, right? But the action and everything else is exactly what you'd expect. The only downside is that I know that they did reshoots for this film, because after they announced that Keanu Reeves was going to be in the film, it kind of sounded like Keanu was only in there for like a split second moment thing. And now he's in it for a decent chunk of the film.
Okay.
Right. So it felt like they added an extra entire sequence with him. Otherwise, I felt that it was well done. It allows not only for, if they want to do further sequels with the ballerina, they can. If they want to do sequels with another character, they can. There are a couple spots where I sit there and I go, how does this really fit into the John Wick universe? But I can tie it in, you know, when I say that, I mean, when John Wick shows up, like, how is he not being shot at instantly? Because we know that it happens between 3 and 4. So he was excommunicado. So he should have been being shot at immediately because he had like a $12 million bounty on it, right? They loosely talk about that, and they loosely represent the rules of the Continental. Otherwise, film is a lot of fun. I want to see it again. I might go see it again tomorrow because, well, I got nothing going on a Tuesday, and it's cheaper movie night. So maybe I go see it before I do trivia. Maybe I go see it after I do trivia. I don't know, but I might go see it again. It was a lot of fun. Anna de Armas really showed off as an action star.
Cool.
So well done. Not gonna say any more about that. I did start watching a show this week called Manifest, and it's on Netflix now. It used to be on NBC. Has the same girl that was in The Hunting Party, that one about the FBI agent that is like hunting down all the serial killers. But in this, she plays somebody that went on to a flight, and when the flight lands, it's 5 years later. And
Nicole was watching that when it was on NBC.
yes, and it's interesting, kind of predictable, but I'm almost 2 seasons into it now, and I'm like, all right, well, I went 4 seasons. The interesting thing about it, like with most shows these days, is that first season is like 16 episodes, right? Second season is 13. Third season is 13, and then the fourth season is 20. So I'm wondering if it's one of those series where NBC sat there and said, "Hey, we're canceling you, but we're going to give you those extra 5 or 6 episodes so that you can go ahead and tie everything up real good." I don't know, haven't gotten there, but kind of feel like that might be the case. So, anyways, figured I'd let you know. Mentioned last week that Sandman's coming back in the next couple weeks. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is coming back next month now. The other thing that I watched this week that some people might actually be interested is that it is Summer Game Fest, which is all the new video game announcements.
Which I'm thinking about going to get one tomorrow. That's coming out tomorrow.
And what game is that?
Mind's Eye. That looks kind of cool. It's kind of looks
Mind's Eye.
I think that's what it's called. It looks like it might be across from. Do you remember when they had the Human Detroit? Everything was AI.
Detroit Become Human.
Become Human and Call of Duty. It looks pretty interesting.
Well, Microsoft yesterday, world premiere video of the new Call of Duty. And it looked, from the first 5 minutes or first, 2 minutes of the video, looked nothing like Call of Duty. And I'm sitting there going, what is this? What is this? And then all of a sudden it's Call of Duty, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck off my screen. Give me something else. But I am super excited. Microsoft announced their handheld gaming system. It's from Asus. It's the Regency. ROG is what their branding is for something of gaming. But it's a 7-inch Xbox screen with a full Xbox controller like built onto the sides of it, right?
Oh, cool.
The amazing thing about it is it plays Windows games, plays Steam games, and plays Xbox games.
What is Steam?
Steam is the digital online service that is for PC gamers.
Okay.
So it plays all of those games.
Okay. And it plays Xbox games.
But the interesting thing about that is because it plays Steam and it plays Windows gaming, it means games that have come out that were PlayStation games like Spider-Man that are now on PC are playable on an Xbox handheld device.
How much is that?
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I'm excited because they announced Gears of War, it's not called remastered, but it's like reloaded is what they're calling it. And anybody that actually bought the Gears of War Ultimate Edition gets that on Xbox for free. Now, it's also part of Game Pass, so I guess everybody who has Game Pass gets it for free. And then the game that I've been waiting for like 2 years now, called Outer Worlds 2, is coming out, I think, by like November of this year, and it was shown in like a big video, and like I can't wait for it. Like when that one comes out, you guys will see me streaming online, either on YouTube, TikTok, or Twitch.
Is that the game that you were playing out at your house? Is like it was. You were playing the shit out of it.
Probably not, but this one was like kind of like Mass Effect, except a little bit weirder.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Mass Effect so much that like when this one got announced, I was like, oh, I'm playing that. And I don't care how weird it gets. And the video that they showed to like launch into it, they had one of the guys from like Community as like the main guy talking about it. What's up, Southpaw?
Outer Worlds.
October 26th for it. So
29.
29? Oh, sorry. That's really small. That's really small on my screen.
Glasses.
I'm gonna have to put my glasses on at some point. But looked really cool. Had some like the actor was like, all right, you have something weird that you do that is like something that's a flaw. We're gonna put it in the game. So what is it? And one person's like, I like to steal stuff, and it's like, that's horrible. It's in the game. Then the next guy's like, I looked at the sun during my time off. And he's like, what do you mean? My entire lunch break. And he goes, so you looked at the sun for like 30 minutes? And he's like, no, I did it for an hour. And he's like, well, how many fingers am I holding up? And he goes, or he goes, how many fingers am I holding up? And he goes, 3. And he goes, wrong. But it's in the game. Apparently it's like weird perks that they're putting in the game, because if you get something, you lose something else, kind of thing. And it sounds awesome. So I was like, I'm down. Let's get this going. But anyway, Tino, this weekend was pretty big for the world of professional wrestling.
Yes.
But before we get there, I want to make sure that we actually talk about the other brand who decided, let's put fucking 4 hours in a row on TV.
Because they knew better than to try to go against WWE on Saturday.
Which I give them credit for. By the way, it wasn't just WWE on Saturday. It was WWE and UFC.
Yeah. They weren't winning that.
But they called it Fyter Fest. And I've got it pulled up. So I am
interested this week, saying, because they're doing 4 hours again. I don't know what's going on this fucking Saturday. But I am interested seeing Swerve and Ospreay. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
But Ospreay challenges Swerve Strickland this week, which sets up the match for this Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Apparently, he got interrupted by Roosh, which set up another match. But then we got our first match of the night, which was Jon Moxley versus Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, who just recently fought Jon Moxley, and what happened? Jon Moxley choked him out. So what do they do this time? Jon Moxley chokes him out.
Choked him out. And what made it so bad? They could have let Briscoe get that win, because Briscoe said it's not for the title. He was trying to prove that he's not a punk to his kids, and he gets choked out again. It wasn't for the belt. Why you can't let this man have it? Let him have it.
You know what? I want to take one step back before this. When Will Ospreay was doing his little speech, and he said, do you know what makes AEW suck? Is Jon Moxley as the world champion. And he did a almost moment for moment Booker T after he called Hulk Hogan that one word you're not allowed to say. Because he was like, you know what makes AEW suck, bruv. Is John Moxley being the world champion? And then he went, but he didn't have a sensational Sherry to tap him on the back and be like, it's okay, Booker. You'll still be a 6-time world champion after this. He has to sit there and then go back into the conversation knowing that he literally just said, our product sucks because of our champ.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about that?
I was like, you're right. He said it. I was like, true facts. I couldn't argue with him. I'm like, yeah, that's my right.
How fucked up is that, though? Like, by the way, this goes back to a couple weeks ago when I talked about how Thunder Tits didn't have a t-shirt ready because they didn't approve the script that they were going to say ahead of time.
I would have just made one anyway. She should have just made one. Like as soon as she said it, they should have gone and done KO style and got like a white t-shirt with Thunder Tits or something.
She should have already had it. She knew she was going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
My point, though, is that he literally talked about the thing. Got to keep Moxley strong and hate.
And the hate strong. The hate for Moxley.
Helios, I agree with you, but saying your product sucks as one of your top guys.
No, he was saying that's why they let Briscoe lose. They want to keep him, keep that heat on him. That's why they couldn't give Briscoe. Too. They couldn't give Briscoe the win. It wouldn't have hurt Moxley. He could have got that heat back. Briscoe could have won, and then Moxley and the boys could have beat the shit out of him, right?
I mean, he was already a bloody mess.
Yeah, but to let him choke him out again.
Oh, I agree. I don't think that there was anything gained by it. You know, like at least have Moxley get disqualified.
Something.
You know, unfortunately, Tony Khan, as we know, what is it, 4 disqualifications in 5 years?
I probably would have been all right with he hit the Froggy Bow or he hit the J Driller, and then the guys came in. You know, he didn't lose, he didn't give up, and he lost because, well, you know, they cheated.
Or he win
right?
by DQ.
He won. Yeah, they could have done that.
I guess a win from Mark Briscoe, they feel because Briscoe has lost every match he's been in this year.
They're wasting Briscoe.
They're not wasting him. They're using him. What they're doing is they're wasting the brand of Briscoe.
Briscoe, I'm not saying he could be a world champion, but he could do more than a jobber. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He could probably get one of those the mid card titles, like the whatever international or whatever. He can get one of those.
We're gonna get on those titles here in a minute, and we're gonna
how much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? And I thought about this and I didn't text you when Kenny won his match and the Rainmaker came out. They had those belts. How much you want to bet they're going to fucking combine those belts? It's going to be a belt for belt.
It's about damn time. There's too fucking many belts.
Because those belts are pretty much the same. How many mid card belts you need? You got those two, and then the one that what's his name has.
The joke is if you take the international title and you mix it with the continental title, what
you got
title?
The Intercontinental.
You get the intercontinental title. You know what I said it was, though. You take the international title, you mix it with the continental title, and you get the title I don't give 2 shits about, because I don't care about either of them.
But they got to have a belt on Kenny at this point. I'm like, why can't Kenny just not have a belt? You know what I'm saying? Kenny's got to have a belt. It's just no. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't need it though. He's Kenny Omega, right? He's one of those you don't need a belt. And then that's Kenny must have a belt. Like you should say, Hogan must pose. Right? Kitty must have a belt.
Hogan must pose.
You remember that? Oh,
No,
you
but
never
it's
heard?
great.
That was I used to listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, and he used to say that's why in the '80s at the end of every show you got Hogan going out doing his thing, and that was a Vince thing. They always said Hogan must pose.
Hey, back in the 80s, if Hogan was on the show, it
You
did twice,
closed out with him doing he closed out with him doing the.
it did
You
twice as much
notice,
money.
think about it. After every show, he was posing.
But I mean, everybody wanted to be, because WWE used to run 2 shows a night back then, and one of them would be with Hogan, one of them would be without. And if you were on the Hogan show, you made twice as much money.
Yep. So
All right, folks, I apologize for eating. My food got here late, and as I was telling Tino before we went on the air, Grubhub has this horrible issue where they don't like ringing your doorbell.
stop using Grubhub. Use DoorDash. Damn, you always bitch about Grubhub, then you use them again. Like if they piss you off, stop using them.
Well, except I have Grubhub Plus. So, now I could switch it to DoorDash Plus or whatever theirs is, but regardless. All right.
That's what I have. I got $9.99 a month for DoorDash, and
Next up, we had AEW's Timeless Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa versus Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Not to be confused with Elena Black.
poor Jake.
Correct. Who now has an OnlyFans page and is getting ready to do an
Mandy
OnlyFans
Rose.
with Mandy Sachs, formerly known as Mandy Rose. Correct. And it's like I saw something today on one of the wrestling sites said about to break the internet.
I say, no, it should have said Rob about to subscribe.
If there's a booby involved.
Well, that's every time we try to watch a pay-per-view at your house.
So for those that don't know, what Tino's talking about is when we don't pay for a pay-per-view, every so often a booby shows up on the screen.
It ain't just a booby.
When a pop-up shows up. You know, as soon as we started talking about boobies, our amount of people in the audience went up. Boobies. The match culminated when Storm executed a punishing German suplex, further weakening Sky Blue. She quickly transitioned into her decisive TCM, which I guess is Turner Classic Movies, chicken wing submission hold. And Blue faded quickly, leaving the referee no choice but declare that they lost via submission. Now, after this, however, Mina Shirakawa got right next to Toni Storm, and they threatened making out with each other.
Everybody was like,
yeah, I'm not even disagreeing with you. That's pretty much what happened. What was the point?
nah.
Like, why is Toni Storm, your women's world champion, being put in these matches while Mercedes Moné, I didn't even mention this, is sitting outside the ring eating a steak that is about the size of my car?
And then she came out, and then Tony came out and bit into this steak.
Now, I loved when Toni Storm went outside the ring, grabbed the steak, and just ate off of it, threw it back down, and then and then drank the rest of the wine.
And then took the broccoli. She started eating with her hands. I'm like, wow.
And Taz is at ringside sitting there, and I believe he actually said Catering Jones.
He said Catering Jones, and he said something else Jones, and I forgot. Usually he'll say it. I'll text you. He said something else Jones too. But I'm thinking about it, and I got a feeling I know what they're doing, and it's going to piss me off. They're going to let Toni Storm beat. Hold on. But yes, but they're letting Tony Storm run through everybody. Remember, because we said why they beating Tony everybody? So when Mercedes beats her, she can say, "Oh,
I've run
I'm,"
through everybody.
and she said, "I beat Tony, who beat everybody." Yeah, I roll my eyes too, but it's Tony Storm, it's Tony Storm, Tony Khan's new shiny toy, so he's got to make Mercedes look better because Tony beat all these women and Mercedes beat her, so she must, you know what I'm saying? So she must be
The sad thing is
extra
she's
shit.
not even the shiny new toy anymore. She's actually the old toy. She's been there over a year. They've brought in
Tony,
other women who have been.
but for some reason, Tony Khan he's still using her. He's still, I don't understand it.
I mean, I'm
I was mad. I was mad when he dropped the ball when they had Harley. Harley should have beat Mercedes. As hot as she was, it wouldn't have hurt Mercedes. It would have helped Harley, and Mercedes still could have gone on and win the championship. Whatever. I'm just scared that she's going to keep all those belts and beat Tony, so she can have all these belts. She needs to lose. I wanted her to drop at least the TNT belt to Harley.
I was even more upset after the Harley Cameron thing. Because Harley Cameron hadn't won a match at that point. So it would have been okay to see her not win that match. But Athena, who hadn't lost a match on TV in 2+ years, loses clean. That would have been the spot where you can build on somebody and make somebody new. Because we're going to talk about that when we talk about Money in the Bank results. But I digress. Let's move on. MJF and Will Ospreay have a confrontation backstage. I don't even know if it was backstage. But, oh, yeah. Lexi Nair spoke with Will Ospreay ahead of the match with Lio Rush, which, who cared? MJF and the Hurt Syndicate end up coming out. They talk about stuff. And before you know it, we have a 6-man match between the Hurt Syndicate. And then we have Swerve, Ospreay, and Hangman. Right? MJF makes his intentions clear. He basically says, after I get through you, I'm going to go after the world title. Well, that's when I think that the Hurt Syndicate turns on him, by the way. But, sorry, still going through. LFI. Who is LFI? Roosh Dralistico and Beast Mordos versus Commander, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. And
they finally won a match. That's the match you were talking about. We were texting. I was like, "Don't tell me, bitch."
And I was like, "But Speedball finally won." And you're like, "I don't care."
I hadn't gotten there yet, motherfucker.
It didn't matter. You didn't care about the match.
I cared. I cared the Barefoot one. Shit, about time Barefoot won. He's gonna fuck around and get somebody hand foot disease, hand mouth foot.
Dude, he's gonna end up with like hepatitis in his feet. Like, I'm just. We joked about this a couple weeks ago. What the hell did Speedball see in his contract that made him sign here? Because guy right now would probably be going for the North American Championship in NXT if he had signed with WWE. You know, like I'm sorry, it's true. He would have been going after that title. Might never have made it past that title in WWE. Might have always stuck in NXT or been low mid card at the main roster level.
I could see him as an Intercontinental or US. I give him
Once or twice,
yeah.
Sure. But you see him in the same light that you see in Austin Theory.
For a while there, I thought they could push Austin to the championship. But yeah,
You still feel that way?
He ain't been on TV in a while, so I don't know what the fuck they're doing with him.
Could be an
But
injury. We don't know.
they don't release
Could
his
also be
ass.
the fact that in a 3-hour program, they got less people showing up than they had when they only had 2 hours.
No, they're just using the same people in those 3 hours. And that's another thing too. When you got extra time, you need to build new stars, and they're just not learning. They're still using these same motherfuckers.
The frenetic pace of the match escalated as all competitors exchanged high-impact moves. LFI nearly secured victory with a tandem attack, Dralistico hitting a precision-driving double stomp, Roosh landing a German suplex, and Mordos delivering a thunderous Samoan drop, yet Knight heroically broke up the pinfall. We finally got the pinfall when those three guys won, which, by the way, when they came out to sit there and say that the Hurt Syndicate wasn't all that, MVP broke them down like a cardboard box.
They should have stayed their ass back there.
And MVP came back out and said, "You know what? Two of you now deserve a shot at the Hurt Syndicate's titles. Whatever, nobody cares." Paragon and Daniel Garcia joined forces. Why is it that he calls himself Daniel Garcia, but yet everybody calls him Danny?
He used to go by Danny Garcia. I don't know why they made it go to Daniel.
Well, he was Daniel when he first showed up. We'll see you out there, Danny. Patriarchy speaks. This is where I thought it was funny because I only watched Dynamite this week. And, it was Dynamite, then Collision. And Christian sat there and told Nick Wayne that he's going to defend his title. And Nick Wayne's like, whatever. I don't care what you say, Dad. And then Christian sits there and says, but I've added one more stipulation. I've made it a 4-way. And of course, Nick Wayne still sits there and goes, who cares? Right?
My favorite part of that, though, he talked to the mom, said, hey, let's go find somewhere to lay down. I meant, go watch this. You get smashed. He's trying to smash her in the middle of the show. That made me laugh. He said, let's go somewhere to lay down. I meant watch.
By the way, I heard rumors that Christian Cage actually isn't married anymore in real life. So it is very possible that this is now a thing. But I'm not trying to start anything here. I'm just saying that I know that
he's trying to be Wayne's daddy for real.
For reals. Wayne confidently responded, "Great, you did this to me before. I left it and it was light work for me. I mean, light work for me." Well, you didn't let me finish, Nick, because the stakes are a little bit higher this time. Yeah, that's right. Now, and his direct quote that you were talking about was, "Now, Shayna, let's go find a place to lay down. I mean, actually, maybe we should watch this one up close. Don't worry, Kip's he's working on an even bigger surprise, Nick." Then we got another Max Caster Open Challenge. Why are we supposed to care?
I don't know, but I don't know if he's turning. I don't know if the crowd's turning around for him because they're starting to cheer with him now.
But I think the crowd's starting to cheer for him because they know he's going to lose. Like, remember when Zack Ryder's tag team partner was losing every match, and we started going, when's he going to win? And then I don't think he ever won in WWE again. I think they released him. But the crowd started getting behind him. Remember that?
Yeah. But unfortunately for Max, he wasn't going to win this one either. Because out came that motherfucking Black Brock Lesnar motherfucker. Willie Hobbs. Willie Hobbs is a big boy.
Willie Hobbs got them biggie breasts. You know what I'm talking about?
It's a biggie breast.
You know what I'm talking about. He had to,
Stupid.
like his chest went all the way around to the backside.
That's like, and that's a bad thing. But when DX was doing it, he said, "Hey, Mark, how you get your pecs to go all the way around your back like that?"
Ms. Ark Henry.
Biz Art Henry. But when you said that, it made me remember that. How you get your pecs to go all the way around your back like that?
Oh,
Oh God, we're going to hell.
it didn't take long. As commentator Excalibur quipped, Powerhouse Hobbs survives the best wrestler alive. I don't know if Max Caster survived Will Hobbs.
Did you, did you see what the fuck Helios just said? Helios talking about Hobbs said he's built like the old Fire and Ice tag team. Not the whole tag team. Not just one of them. He's built like the whole tag team.
They just combined them.
Oh, that's funny.
He literally looks like an American gladiator that ate somebody. That's what he looks like.
Chris Barrett wants to know, is Rob eating the sandwich that X Pop made for Mizark Henry?
No, I'm eating a Philadelphia cheesesteak, and it is
From where? From where?
From a local place.
No. I thought you were gonna say Penn Station.
No, same place that you and I get our pizza from when we watch pay-per-views and PLEs.
No, I didn't know they did Philly cheesesteaks. Maybe I need to get that next time, bitch.
They actually use the right roll now. They don't normally. International Championship. This was your main event for the night. Brody King versus Claudio versus Mascara Dorado from CMLL versus Kenny Omega.
Well, we know that this is probably a 10-star match, according to
7-star match. 7
Okay.
stars.
according to Meltzer.
Yeah.
But
It didn't have Osprey, so it can't be a 10-star. Go on.
if it had Osprey, the Rainmaker, and motherfucking Kenny Omega, oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
10-star match.
match was fine.
Yeah.
But did you ever think that Kenny was losing? And when he got done, he's like, holding his belt. And then bling, 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 bling. And you're supposed to go, oh shit. And of course, the crowd, because it's AEW, is sitting there going, this is awesome. And nothing fucking happened. They literally just look at each other and go, that was it.
I remember them making that noise, but okay.
Well, they lowered the volume so you could hear that this is awesome.
You heard something I didn't.
I watched it on YouTube. I heard the real audio. Not the...
Got it.
As Chris Barrett just said, Timmy. I mean, it. Okay, we get it. Osprey, or not Osprey, but Omega versus Okada. Great match. Why not have the Triple O? Why not have Osprey versus Okada versus Omega? Right? And then have Osprey win both of those championships at one time.
Oh.
I still think it's coming. I still think that after they have their match between him and Swerve this week, that Osprey is going to sit there and interject himself into that other match. I get that they kind of want to have Okada versus Omega, because it'll be the first time that they do that in AEW. That's great. But how big of a match would it be to have Osprey, Omega, and Okada in the same ring at the same time in a no disqualification first fall wins both belts match.
Well, no, it wouldn't be a no DQ if it's a triple threat, right? And that triple
Triple
threat
threat
rule.
is always no DQ. No rope breaks, no DQ, no countouts.
Not in
Triple threat.
WWE then. Not in WWE because
Yes,
triple
sir.
threat.
Triple threats are no DQ. That's why every single one of these matches that led up to the Money in the Bank ladder match were triple threats, so that anytime that there was outside interference, it didn't finish the match. What are you looking
Ah,
at?
yeah, you're right. No DQ. No DQ.
Say that
No,
again.
I was. I would no. I was.
What minute? What minute of the show is this?
Bitch, no, because
I need,
even when I'm
cut
right,
this clip.
even when I'm right, you don't give me my props. Fuck you, you
I need
ginger
to cut
bitch.
this clip though. You were saying we need to start cutting clips. I need to cut this clip.
Shit shows. Oh, well.
But and Barrett, I know that you said that triple threats are shit shows, except the three of them would probably set a new example for what a triple threat is supposed to be. And by the way, that TLC match, tables, ladders, and chairs on SmackDown the week after WrestleMania was a triple threat tag team match. So it was a 6-man, and that match is probably the greatest TLC match I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So Tino, I'm going to try to go through the rest of this 4 hour.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Will Ospreay versus Lio Rush ends with a save by Hangman. So Hangman's got his back. I guess that's cool. Don Callis has a surprise for Bandito and the Outrunners. Do you give a shit?
No.
Okay. FTR versus Atlantis Jr. and Templario? Who the fuck are these guys?
They're from
CMLL, I'm sure.
Yeah, they came out and started talking shit to FTR. I think it was last week, and challenged FTR.
Okay, so we also had Proto Shitta versus Los Outrunners. So Kyle Fletcher and Take a Shitta versus Turbo Floyd, Truth Magnum, and Bandito.
I remember that. I must have fell asleep.
Okay. Here you go. Tay Mello returns to defend Anna Jay from Megan Bain. Bitch!
I definitely missed that too. I don't remember that shit either. Damn, I must have fell asleep on Collision.
Mello successfully drove off Bain and Ford, saving Anna Jay from further harm. How is that 4'0" little firecracker gonna get rid of Megan fucking Bain?
Did you not watch it?
No.
Oh, does she have a chair or a pipe or something?
And let's find out. The Chaos took a shocking turn when made a dramatic return, storming in fiercely to defend before Bane could toss her off the ring ramp. So no, is it like apparently she got tossed out? Anthony Bowens calls out Kyle Fletcher.
Oh yeah, I definitely slept through all this shit.
And then we had the Nick Wayne versus Sammy Guevara versus Lee Johnson versus AR Fox. Now, I want to remind you, yes, this was a 4-hour program and this technically was Collision. But why the fuck would I have stayed up for any of this shit after we already had Kenny Omega defend his title 2 hours earlier?
You would not.
And you know what? I did not.
I said I apparently slept through all this shit because I don't remember none of it.
On top of that, this wasn't even the end. Thekla makes her AEW in-ring debut versus Lady Frost.
Oh, that's that spider bitch.
Sure. That's not even the final match. Don Callis family, which was Lance Archer, Josh Alexander, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero versus Danny Garcia and the Paragon.
I don't remember none of that shit. I must have. Damn. I
I
gotta go
think
back and watch
after
this.
I said I wasn't watching it, you said, "Fuck this shit. I'm not watching it neither."
I tried to. I must have fell asleep.
I'm
I,
serious. I
I
think
don't. I don't remember any of that shit.
you gave up on it just like I did. So, all right, you know what that means? It's
Yeah.
time to talk about
You- Oh, damn it! I thought we were
yeah.
going to POs. Okay.
No, no. We had Trick Williams versus Mike Santana, Charlie Dempsey versus Miles Bourne, and Tyra May Steele debuted. So here we go. When worlds
Wait,
collide,
who debuted?
Tyra May Steele, the former women's wrestling uh, Olympic athlete
That's right. That's right.
from
From
LFG.
LG. I remember now. Yeah.
So okay, here we go. The first segment was Laredo Kid, Javon Evans, and Ethan Page appeared to promote the North American Championship, but for some reason Ray Phoenix wasn't there.
Oh, they said he missed his flight or something. There's something with his flight. It was a shoot.
Segment was short and sweet. Great. Then we got Chase U versus Dark State.
Yeah, that should have never been a match. They got fucked up.
The picture that they show is Chase hurtling over one of the Dark State guys, and that's probably the last positive move he had all match. And he even has this look on his face of,
Like, I can't believe I did it.
Dark State defeated Chase U. Grade C. Does anyone else miss Duke Hudson? That's what Bleacher Report just wrote. Vic Joseph came so close to calling out Booker T for being weird on commentary about women. Oh yeah, man. Miles Bourne versus Charlie Dempsey. If Miles Bourne wins the match, he is no longer part of the catch crew.
No quarter catch crew. That was a good match. Dempsey, I believe, is about to turn heel, and he did a regal the suplex. He did the regal fuck, I forget what, not the regal stretch, but it was a suplex, kind of like almost like a perfect plex, and then Regal used to do it. So, and they called it the Regal, whatever it is. So I don't know if they're going to start acknowledging that he's Regal's son.
I mean, they kind of acknowledged it, but yeah.
Like they finally came out and said, "Okay, Braun Breaker." They finally fuck it. His dad's Rick, his uncle Scott. You know, they finally said, "Fuck it." So I wonder if they're going to finally do that for him, because dude looks like fucking William Regal,
which is not a positive thing.
No, at all.
Yeah. But it's exactly as I said. What's his face gets Miles Bourne gets his freedom from the no quarter catch crew. So
That's
now
the future world champion, dude. That's Randy Orton 2.0. He's a future world champion.
You know as well as I do when it comes to the WWE, if you can't cut a promo, you're gonna have issues. But there are enough people to where somebody could be his mouthpiece for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Tyra May Steele versus Ariana Grace.
They need to admit that bitch is Santino's daughter and get it over with.
I mean, they implied that.
Said it, yeah, but okay.
Well, I think Santino said it, because didn't they even do that one segment where like he talked bad about her boyfriend in real life, and she was like, Steele defeated her. Why would, and this is what Bleacher Report had to say, why would you hire an Olympic athlete and then change her name?
Because like we always say, WWE wants to own them.
I can tell you an exact reason why in this case they're doing that. You want to know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
They want to own her popularity, or they don't want to ruin her name if she fails. I mean, as simple as that. Like, she's a former Olympic athlete. When Gable Steveson tries to go out and get a job going forward, if he's not sitting there trying to be an MMA fighter and doesn't do well, he failed.
Yeah, but she
As
did that first match. She did good. So she was looking crisp. I think she's gonna be all right.
well, I agree with you, but I think that is
That could
why
be.
they did that. You know, the glamour arrives in NXT,
And
Tino.
that's the thing I was saying. I was telling you because you were like, I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna call him Mariah Man. You were like, yeah. I'm
Mhm.
like, they did the same thing when Ricky Starks came. He said that he did his whole the revolution is televised, but they changed his fucking name.
We already know they're going to change her name. At the same time, the glamour is going to be her cachet, right? Just like Ricky Saints, the revolution is televised, is still there as part of his gimmick. What I don't understand is why, when you were doing a NXT and AAA double branded event on Saturday, that you introduce her midway through Tuesday night.
Because they're going ahead because she came out, wasn't it? She came out during the when everybody was challenging JC, right? So I think they're which I hope they don't. I hope, but they did it with Ethan. They did it with Ricky. So I wonder if they're going to do it with her. Let her come in and win the belt first time out.
I mean, she pretty much said you're looking at your next NXT Women's Champion,
Mm. There's
and
so many people.
I mean, honestly, she is more prepared than some of those other women are. But
Here's the thing, though. You get pissed off when WWE does that shit, but now it's okay that WWE's doing it. I mean, when AEW does it, you get pissed,
no, I
and
will be
then
pissed.
and then
I don't. I
WWE's
don't.
about to do it, and you're like,
I
oh, well, it's gonna be
never.
okay.
I never like it, man. I never like it. I think that. I think that it really should dishearten the people that actually work there when someone walks in and 3 days later they're a champion. At any of them, it always should. You know, and and I'm glad you asked this because while she is a better athlete and better prepared than some of these other people, even when Ethan Page won it, it took him 40 days and he immediately lost it. It wasn't like he kept it. It wasn't like he was made to look stronger than everybody else. He was made to look like a person who capitalizes on insane situations, right? Now, at the same time, should they do that every 6 months? Fuck no. Never. So with Mariah May, whatever they end up calling her, and it's probably going to be like Mariah Glamour or some stupid shit, because I mean that's like I'm
They're gonna call
worried.
him. They're gonna call him Mariah June.
I'd be okay if they call her Mariah Jones,
Shut up.
but that's part of the problem is that like I love the idea of her being part of NXT, and I know that she's going to be a women's champion in NXT before too long, or she's going to be called up almost immediately after she has the WWE system down, right?
Hmm.
So, how long do you think that is before when especially when you've got someone like JC Jane as the women's world champion? Because JC Jane's never really proved herself to be the top female in the brand.
And that's why I think they didn't let her hold it a while. They need to go ahead and call because Mariah May's going up. Why are we going to this facade of making her go through NXT when you're just going to call her up within the next 6 months? Let JC Jane have her flowers and see what she can do with it, and send Mariah on up to Raw or SmackDown.
We need more Joneses. Um, I mean, 100% agree with you, but I could, in essence, see them sit there and go, okay, we've already made our call ups for the time being. So Jordan Grace and Mariah May are going to be your top two women for the next 6 months. Then maybe after SummerSlam, we said, and I know SummerSlam is actually a lot closer than what I'm saying, but maybe after
Survivor Series.
SummerSlam, Survivor Series, we make that call up again. Or Maybe we sit there and we go, let's see exactly how far we can run with a Mariah May in NXT, and then we call her up at the Royal Rumble. And let's be honest, when we had Julia, we had Roxanne, we had Stephanie Vaquer, any of the three of those could have gone into the Royal Rumble, and we wouldn't have been upset if they won the Royal Rumble. A Mariah May is the same way. A Jordan Grace is the same way, right? So if they're in NXT, what bigger splash can you make on the main roster than sitting there going, I get to call my shot and be the top match at WrestleMania for the women?
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, we are talking about an AEW Women's World Champion who immediately following her loss of the championship came to WWE, right?
Yep.
So I love it. But again, I'm with you. I do think that you run that area where if you move her to the women's championship too fast, you're going to upset a lot of people that have worked there for years.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like to see Jade Parker get a run with it.
Sure. All right, let's see what else we got. But do you like the move, Mariah May?
Yeah.
Legacy, Lee, Evans, and Laredo versus Paige and the Vanity Project.
Yes. That's a good match. And the Vanity Project is on Evolve. And the one dude is the Carolina Reaper.
They're Swipe Right, aren't they?
Yeah, Swipe Right, and then their partner was out there, the third guy. He just won the Evolved World Championship. So I think that's kind of cool. And Legacy has a shot, I believe, at Ethan Page coming up for the North, because he was in that match for the Evolved Championship and he lost, which makes me believe he'll probably, because that dude's good, they're probably going to call him up and he might get that. He might take that belt from Ethan.
Okay. Trick Williams versus Mike Santana for the TNA, the Trick NA World Championship.
I was surprised that they brought my boy back. Top Dollar.
AJ Francis.
Yeah. That's kind of cool that Top Dollar's back in NXT, even,
Well, except he's not. He's
well,
a
what I
TNA
mean.
superstar.
But he's back on WWE TV, which is cool to see.
I mean, that's part of the program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what you think of the match?
Part of me, I mean, even though we knew that Trick wasn't going to win wasn't going to lose that belt that soon, it would have been cool. I thought they might try to hot potato it so Mike can have the belt back at TNA. Because I just don't see Trick hanging out at TNA like that, right? He's still a WWE contracted wrestler.
One of the things that made me laugh here was that because NXT is live and TNA is not necessarily, right? TNA does like one live show and then they do like 3 taped shows. Was the fact that they said that Trick has said, I'm not showing up on TNA, which allowed them the ability to not have that World Championship show up for a couple weeks on TNA programming. I thought it was genius. I thought it was a really, really well done way to do it. Same time, I had a problem with it, and here's why. The problem that TNA had with their relationship with AEW was that it never seemed to actually do anything for TNA. It always seemed to help AEW. Well, now you have the TNA Championship being shown. Now, granted, it's on network television, so it's being seen by a much larger audience than when it was on AEW. But it's not helping the TNA product. So are we going to have the same problem with this 5-year agreement between these two companies? Or are we going to finally see where someone ends up taking like the North American Championship over to TNA? Like, something's got to give here, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
But I'm right?
They should like have the Hardys or somebody come over and win the tag team titles and take it over there. I doubt they're going to take the. I bet you the NXT title won't go to damn TNA.
I'm not thinking it will. I'm thinking that the WWE is too protective. But I could see the women's North American Championship. I could see the tag team championships, or I could see the North American Championship for the men. But I can't see. Now, granted, I also don't think anyone on the TNA roster, except maybe Moose, could beat Obafemi.
Mm.
I mean, it's hard to say. Like, you could say Nick Nemeth because he's a 2-time world champion, but otherwise, I don't see Joe Hendry beating Obafemi.
We're thinking that new kid from LFG. They signed that contract.
I mean, the big one. Like, I could see them building him up, and I could see him being the one that Oba does the favors to as he moves up. But
Oh, they already signed the contract.
I mean, we're thinking that Obafemi is getting called up any day now,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately for NXT, kind of has to happen. You know, because like, do you really believe anybody in NXT can beat him? I don't. They'll make anybody look good. Don't get me wrong. They'll make anybody look good. But
That new kid, he's got the size, and that's about the only one.
I mean, so far they've had Tony D'Angelo be the only guy that could actually beat Obafemi. And I didn't even buy that. So when it happened, I was like, you know. All right. Ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're rolling up on the hour and a half mark, and I got a feeling you about to put fucking SmackDown on, and I'll be like, we still got 3 more shows to go.
I'm not doing Raw. I'm not doing SmackDown. We're doing the PLEs.
All right.
We're out. We're doing the PLEs. Then we're going to talk about the news. Then we're going to be out.
Well, I'm gonna let you do Worlds Collide. Like I said, I didn't see it all. I didn't see shit.
I watched it. I was very impressed by it. The AAA talent that they had on the show were phenomenal. They brought
watch it.
They brought true to life Lucha Libre to an audience that may have never seen it. The interesting thing was the commentary team was your play-by-play guy was Corey Graves, and your color guy was Conan.
That's what I say. They said Conan was on there.
And
is it World? There it is.
And when it started, Conan sat there and said, I want to bring to your attention that this is not going to be like the wrestling you are used to watching. And it was not. It was a different product. It was a beautiful product to watch, whether I knew the names of the people involved or not. It blew me away. It reminded the best way I can describe it is it reminded me of when WWE did ECW One Night Stand.
Okay.
You knew it was a WWE production, so it had the production value of WWE. So it had the lighting, it had the music, it had the entrance videos, it had all that, but it was AAA's product. Although the female head of AAA, when you see her, she kind of looks like she's out of Aeon Flux with her damn haircut. It's wild. So the matches we got, let me see if I can find these. Okay, Octagon Jr. Aerostar and Mr. Iguana defeated the Latino World Order, which was Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and Lince Dorado.
Okay.
Mr. Iguana is going to be the next big star. And if he's not the next big star, the best quote I can give here, which I said, nobody else did. I said this. Santino walked with the Cobra so Mr. Iguana could run. Because he put an iguana stuffed animal on his hand. And at one point, Lince Dorado ended up having to do a Spanish fly with an iguana. Dude, Triple H, after Money in the Bank during the press conference, flat out said, "I didn't know iguanas were so popular. We're gonna have to figure out a way to merchandise that."
Did you see what Barrett said? Mr. Iguana somehow took over the internet. He's going to be forgotten about by next week.
He could be, but I don't think so. I think literally, and the way Mr. Iguana wrestled the match. By the way, Mr. Iguana as a wrestler, fine, whatever. But the iguana stuffed animal on his hand is going to be. I mean, it's to me, it's just as cool as Mini Monet. Okay.
Oh,
Yes. Next match up, Stephanie Vaquera and Lola Vice defeated Chic Tormenta and Dalise by pinfall. The important and impressive thing to note here was it was Stephanie Vaquera's second match in like 14 hours.
mm-hmm.
And she carried this match. Lola Vice did some cool stuff. Also wore like very Puerto Rican gear. But Stephanie Vaquera carried this match and looked great in doing so. Ended up they ended up hitting a dual. What's her move called?
Whose move?
Stephanie Vaquera.
Oh, I
With
know
the
what
knee.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
That one. Yeah.
Devil's Kiss.
Devil's Kiss. There you go. Legado del Fantasma defeated. You ready for these names? El
Okay.
Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and
the
Psycho
son of Dr.
Clown.
Wagner.
El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr.
The son of Dr. Wagner Jr. Okay.
Pagano and Psycho Clown. So the WWE took a 2-1 lead at this point. Fun match, but the fact that they kept going El Hijo Dr. Wagner Jr. just had me laughing constantly. Like, why would you be called Dr. Wagner Jr.? Next matchup was
Dr. Wagner the third.
I guess, yeah. Next matchup was the North American Championship. Ethan Page retained his title against Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. As they were keeping count on this, I thought it was kind of, I thought it was a little rude to count this as an NXT win when they had 3 of the 4 competitors. So I didn't look at it that way.
Back in the day when WCW came and they kind of WWE kept them down, right? So they don't want anybody else to be better than them.
Well, I see that, but this I mean, having 3 out of 4 competitors for the WWE, unless you were going to have Laredo Kid actually beat Ethan Page, it was going to be a WWE victory, right?
Mm.
I do want to point out that during that first match, Octagon Jr., Aerostar, Mr. Iguana versus the Latino World Order, that before the match started, Octagon Jr. Gave Rey Mysterio like a specialty mask,
Yep.
which caused Dominic Mysterio, who was sitting in the front row, to get pissed off. And this caused him to call him out and set up a match at Money in the Bank.
And he put his title up.
Where he even said, and I'll even go so far as to put my championship on the line. So I thought that was really cool because we had started hearing people going, when was the last time Dominic actually defended this thing? Well, he put it up on the line. Finally, Vikingo defeated Chad Gable via pinfall. And dude, it was a 22-minute match. It was a masterpiece.
Really?
Yeah. Let me put it this way. You know, we talk about how Stephanie Vaquera ended up working 3 matches in 24 hours. Chad Gable, I think, did the same thing because I think he actually was in the 6-man match on SmackDown as well, as El Grande Americano. Sorry. But this match between Chad Gable and Vikingo was, I mean, they did some stuff that I can't describe. You have to watch it to see it. And Vikingo retained his championship and ended the night on a positive note for AAA, which again, because of that 5th match being a 3-1 NXT possible winner, I still say that it was 2-2, and that match doesn't really count in the scoring system of who actually won. So I think it was a tie night between them. But a 3:00 PLE on YouTube for free. Bro, watch it.
Okay.
Well worth it. Anybody in the comments, go ahead, say something about it if you want to. Just look up the villains. No, Dr. Wagner Jr. was the given name by the original Dr. Wagner. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. It's Dr. Wagner Jr.'s son. I'm going to put that up on the screen because that's a lot to take in. But we can jump into our main event of the night, which is talking about the Money in the Bank results. Where do you want to start? Do we want to start with Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon Jr.? Let's do it.
Yeah. Well. I mean, why you ask me if you can fucking do it anyway?
Well, I know that it actually started with the women's Money in the Bank match, but I didn't want to talk about that yet.
All right.
How'd you feel?
I mean, I knew Dominic wasn't going to lose this match. I mean,
Why
I'm
not?
surprised he won it cleanly.
Okay, I can see that. Solid match. The commentators are reiterating just about everything you and I have said about Dominic Mysterio's progression in the ring over the past 5 years. Remember, this kid started in the ring at the height of COVID in 2020 with no crowds, and now has gone from the most vilely hated person in all of pro wrestling for slapping his own mom.
Yep.
To now being cheered on a regular basis because of how good he is in the ring. Fair?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's always been good, but
He's on another level, dude.
yeah, he's gotten better. I think just wrestling through COVID and getting that time to, because he worked with a lot of people. He worked with Orton. He worked with a lot of people, and just getting that time to hone his craft,
Well,
kind of thing. And
so it's not even owning his craft. It's that they have so much faith and like care in him, knowing that he is going to be a safe worker with these guys. Orton in his first match back, CM Punk in his first 2 matches back. These guys worked with Dominic Mysterio. Like, they didn't work with AJ Styles, who is a guy that you know is not going to hurt you in the ring, right?
Yeah.
They both worked with Dominic Mysterio. Like the kid is that fucking good. Like, do I ever want to see him carrying the World Heavyweight Championship? Fuck no. But it
He
doesn't
probably
mean
will.
he's not going to earn it and deserve it by the time he might wear it. Now, granted, I would love to see him put on another 30 pounds before he does, because
But why?
he's always looked lanky, you know. And in a WWE world where, like, it's hard for a guy like Mick Foley to win a world championship, still did it. Hard to do.
Yeah,
It's one of those
I
things
mean,
where
he's got a Seth Rollins build. I mean, Seth Rollins is lanky. CM Punk is lanky. They're not
they
like
all
big.
they all show their abs at some point, you know. Like, CM Punk, by the way, is a lot bigger than he was in 2013 now, which I think is hilarious, because when he went to UFC, he slimmed down a buck ton. Like, I mean, we're talking, he dropped 30 pounds to get himself into UFC shape. But when he went, and even when he went from AEW to the WWE, if you look at his arms are have put on a severe amount of mass compared to what he used to have. That, I think that's why he wears the cutoff shirts now, to show off his arms, because he's
But
proud
that's
of
what I'm saying. He was a champion when he was skinny, lanky before.
But you know how it is. Like, you can have one guy that's like that on your roster, but you can't have 5 guys like that on your roster. You know, like Shawn Michaels was that guy, right? But Shawn Michaels, at the height, when he lost to Austin, was sitting there with a fucking 8-pack, and he had jacked up arms because you knew he was juicing, you know?
Well, that's what
So
it is. They all juiced. They were all juicing back then.
they were all juicing back then. In fact, I just saw a story about Mr. Kennedy, and it was about how he got how he got his PED suspension, and he got called in for a meeting with Vince. I don't know if you heard this, but he got called in for a meeting with Vince, and Vince sits there and says, "Hey, we're giving you a drug test," and he goes, "Yeah, but I have a doctor's note that lets me take the PEDs." Right. And Vince is like, "Yeah, but you can't have them shipped to you. You've got to get them actually, like, you know, you got to get them at an actual pharmacy." And he was like, "I did." And he goes, "Well, we're giving you a $10,000 fine, and we're suspending you for 30 days for PEDs." Even though Vince McMahon, what Kennedy said about it was Vince McMahon was getting his PEDs shipped directly to him. So, so it was like, it totally sounded like, and you've probably heard the story where, like, Randy Orton got pissed off at Mr. Kennedy, and that was why, and because he hurt his neck or whatever, and that's why they were just like, "Yeah, we're just suspending you for 30 days," and he was like, "Yeah, the writing's on the wall at this point, so let's just do this." All right, next matchup, let's talk about the Intercontinental Women's Championship match between Becky and Lyra Valkyria. I'll let you speak first.
Well, I told you, I called it. I said Becky's going to win that title.
I was disappointed by it. It didn't. It wasn't an unexpected outcome, but it was still a disappointing outcome. Is that fair to say? Because, like, it goes back to that 50-50 booking thing, and it really just continues the whole string of, let's just go with the big name.
This wasn't even 50-50 booking. I mean, she had her 2-0. I think Lyra's beat,
2-0, and only 1-0 on the main roster. So 1-1 now on the main roster.
No, they were saying 2-0 before.
Well, yeah, but they were, and that's because, like, Lyra beat her in NXT for the NXT championship, but it's still 1-1 on the main roster. And obviously this isn't over yet, based on the way that Lyra Lyra was basically made to eat crow, sit there and have to hold up her hand. Becky then made her do it all 4 ways around the ring, and then Becky said, "Put the belt on me," and that's when Lyra finally snapped. And I gotta tell you, I would have snapped long before that moment. Like the second, let me hold up your hand, I would have hit her in the back. Like you ain't getting the belt put on you at this point.
No, she was still trying to be a good sport about it. I think they played it out well.
You're right, and it was a really making her the baby face, but it was making her like a pussy baby face. And granted, she did get that comeuppance by sitting there doing the German suplex or the belly to back, but it still felt like too much.
You come from an era of John Cena and Hulk Hogan, those white meat baby faces, and that's what she was doing that.
I guess. All right. You want to talk about the actual ladder matches or the Cena, Paul, Cody, and Jay match?
I want to talk about that last.
You want to talk about
The,
that
the,
last? All right. So the first match of the night was actually the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and once again, I'm going to say a pretty predictable ending. And I don't know if it's I don't
didn't
know if
think
either of
I
us
called.
actually called her, but here's why I'm going to say it was predictable. How many matches had Naomi won up until this?
I don't remember.
She lost a lot. We constantly talked about how she kept losing.
Yeah, but I also figured she was the ones when she won it. I'm like, well, she has been in Stephanie's face. I'm at Tiffy's face, and she's been blaming Tiffy. Remember, she's like, all the times I was going after Nia for that belt, you were in my way. So she kept calling her shot. She said, I'm gonna win it, and I'm coming after you. So I don't. They were like, she can pick whatever. I'm like, why are we even playing that stupid game? We know she's going for Tiffy.
Well, it'll be interesting. That's for certain. But Naomi is your women's Money in the Bank, and if you watch the after party, uh, when the crowd was actually chanting "You deserve it," she told them to shut up, and she said,
Damn.
she was like, "Now you sit there and say I deserve it. I don't
But they
need
cheered when she won.
none of you." She sat there and said, "I don't need none of you." But
Damn.
then Big E sat there, and Big E was like, I've known you since 2009. I've known how hard you worked to get here. I know that when you walked out on the company and you had to work your way back and did all that, you did everything. And she goes, "That's a lot coming from you." Right. So she was still showing, still giving flowers, still getting flowers. But when it came to the crowd, she definitely made sure, "I'm the heel. Shut up." And I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was good booking. I thought her winning. The more we watched that match, the more I thought it made more and more sense. I didn't want to see Rhea Ripley win. I could have accepted Alexa Bliss because I think I actually called Alexa Bliss as the winner. I could have accepted her because it would have been nice after the reaction she got at the Royal Rumble and the type of reaction she's been getting since being back. But it made sense to put Naomi in this situation. And it makes even more sense if she wins because then you can get more of the Bianca, Jade, and Naomi stuff to continue on. Men's Money in the Bank. People, go ahead, put it in the comments what you thought of this because I couldn't be more disappointed.
I was hoping it was gonna be LA Knight.
Well, it's the second year in a row LA Knight was the second to last guy to touch that championship, and it irritated the piss out of me this time. It really made me hate this moment. I sat there and sorry, I'm looking at the time. I sat there and I was like, listen to that crowd react as he climbs the ladder, and then you pull it out from under him.
They
Every
don't give a shit.
and then they give it to someone just as old as him, so it's not like it's, oh, we went younger. But they did the thing that I absolutely can't stand in this situation. They gave it to a guy who's a multi-time world champion already. Now, does it work storyline wise giving it to Seth Rollins? Yes. Because Seth Rollins said, as soon as I have that, I run WWE. I get it. They're really trying to push this new faction that he's part of and whatever. But he doesn't need it.
Mm-mm.
Except, you know what I think is going to happen is we're not even watching Monday Night Raw right now, and we've probably got about 25 minutes that's still left for Monday Night Raw. And the end of the Jay versus Gunther match, I think, is going to end with Seth Rollins cashing in that championship opportunity. Now, does that mean he wins? I don't know. But having Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, Braun and Braun, interesting. Having them.
Remember when Braun Breaker first came out, I'm like, I want to see Braun and Bronson as a tag team. I said that. And here we are.
I now, I mean, with both of them at your side, if he goes down and makes it a triple threat, it's a no DQ.
Now, don't think that the other two, Braun and Braun, won't get the tag belts. I'm seeing that them having all the belts, all the gold, and I'm seeing Becky join them to do your alliance that you were talking about. I can see it, and then they got all the gold.
Yeah, I still love the idea of the NDA, the New Dangerous Alliance. I think it's a good name. I think it's a good way to sit there and display them. At the same time, does it make for interesting Monday Night Raw by having all four of those championship belts on those four people? I don't know, and it irritates me because like the only
modern day Four Horsemen.
Sure, but the most positive thing that comes out of it is a Gunther babyface.
Yeah. Speaking of, my turn finally happened. I was so fucking excited to see it. When Solo got in the ring with that damn ladder. And at first he's like, and Jacob's like, I love you, Solo. And he made like he was watching so nobody can go up that ladder. And Solo got the ladder and Jacob looked. I'm like, oh, here it comes. Folks,
now
I was in Hickory and I was watching it on my laptop. When I tell you I sat up in bed and grabbed that damn, I was like, do it. He goes, I hate you. And he fucking cost him that. Oh, dude. I was so happy. Got a face turn.
It was so obvious though. Like even though they all took out Bronson and Braun and all that, like we knew, like as soon as he said Solo go up that ladder, I knew. I was like, oh, here it is.
And I was glad to see it because I've been waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, the only reason why I was upset about it, I guess, is because had Solo climbed all the way up that ladder and taken that championship opportunity, Jacob could have turned on him after he wins that belt. You know?
Jacob's still going to get that belt. It's coming.
Well, I mean, and he's the U.S. champion right now, so he doesn't even have to get that belt yet, right? The problem that we run into is the same problem that we had all along, which is Seth Rollins now holds that Money in the Bank contract, and he is the most unnecessary person for it. He's the most he doesn't need it. He literally can sit there and go to Pierce today and say, I want a championship match, and he's getting one. So why put it on him?
Like you said, that the faction, they're trying to do something. I don't know what they're trying to do with that faction. Hadn't quite figured it out yet, but yeah. This is what I want to talk about. First of all, there's a couple funny things. I think one of the things that made me pop is when Logan Paul had, I don't know who he had on the mat, and he got on that top rope and caught that drone. And Jay ran up, and you the whole way down here, and you actually, no.
It it was
No,
it was
Cody. Cody ran up and flipped him because then all of a sudden you see the Jones laying there and you just see Jade laying on top of it. I loved it.
the thing I hated about that moment was that the whole time Logan's got his arm out as far as it'll go because he knows what's coming, and as part of the show, he's got to let that happen at that point instead of going, "Go ahead, drone, fly." Like
And then the drone laid in the mat on that ref. I was waiting for a referee to kick it out. I never saw him kick it out.
yeah. I hated how much the commentary team like gave props to Logan Paul for catching the drone. Like someone didn't fly that thing in and slow it down so it would land in his palm. Shut the fuck up. Like shut the fuck up about all that. It's hard not to give Logan Paul his props for a match like this.
Yes.
Because out of all four competitors, he was the most impressive. I'm not going to say that Jay and Cody didn't do what they were supposed to do. I'm not going to say that John Cena didn't do what we expect him to do. John's obviously lost a step. Like, we can see it. He's definitely not as speedy as he's been. He doesn't need to be because he's supposed to be the heel and he's supposed to take the cheap way out of everything and whatever. But Logan Paul, I mean, all the naysayers, and I'm talking about the people that like Will Ospreay and Kevin Nash and all these other people that have talked about how Logan Paul isn't putting in his due, and saying that he gets all this time to practice and everything else before. Shut the fuck up. Like, do you think Lawrence Taylor, when he showed up at WrestleMania 2, was supposed to look like $1 million? He was supposed to look like $1 million, and he didn't. Logan Paul looks like $1 million every time he's in the ring. So shut the fuck up and start giving the guy his props. Do I ever want to see him as world champion? Fuck no. Because if he's only going to be there 6 matches a year, I don't want to see that. But if you're going to use him as a spectacle and a specialty match, I'm totally fine with it. And he's killing it every time he does it. That second rope moonsault that he did onto the announce table was a thing of motherfucking beauty, and deserves to be said.
Yep.
Like, and by the way, broke the table after the spear by Jey Uso did not.
Yeah, what was that?
I think they have little like gauges on the sides of them on the underside, so it'll hold it up, and if you click those, that's when it collapses. It's gotta be, because otherwise, I mean, like, those things would collapse all the time. But I could totally see where like Wade Barrett sits there and goes, clicks a little button, click them on both sides, and the whole thing collapses. But I could be wrong. It could just be the fact that like the middle is wobbly versus the sides not being. I don't know. But I was fucking impressed. And we haven't even talked about it. Go ahead.
So while all this is going on the outside, Cena has Cody in the ring. And he's about to hit Cody, I believe, with the belt. And all of a sudden,
he hits him.
He does hit Cody. All of a sudden, from the crowd, dude came in an all black hoodie, kind of like double leg Cena, was beating the shit out of him. And then he hit Cena with the belt. And then he takes off the hood, takes off the mask, and it's R-Truth. Now I gotta ask you.
No, it was not R-Truth.
Well, they didn't. They hadn't announced that yet. They hadn't announced that last night or that night. Everybody was still thinking it was R-Truth. Do you think Triple H was like, "Fuck, I fucked up"? and that's why they brought him back because he's gone.
Have you
He
heard
was
the story?
released.
Have you heard the story?
They, I think they brought him back for like a year. He re-signed a year, and he's coming back as Ron Killings instead of R-Truth.
So the story going backstage, because at the press conference after the event, Triple H actually sat there and said, because the first question he was asked was this all a work, or is it or is it a shoot? And Triple H said, were you
Did you
entertained?
enjoy the show? Yep.
Did you enjoy the show? It's all part of the act, right? And I like to the mass audience, what Triple H is saying is that it was all part of everything going on. That's not what he said. He said it's all part of the act. It's because they're a circus, right? If someone wants to see the bearded lady, they bring in the bearded lady, right? Got a couple issues here. I don't think it's been officially confirmed that Ron Killings has signed a new contract. I could be wrong. You're saying you think it's a year. I'm saying that we were told that Ron Killings' contract was not being renewed, right?
Well, I just actually went to fucking looked on Bleacher. He's on Raw.
Well, I'm sure he is. Except, here's the issue. When we look at this stuff, Ron Killings showing up on Monday Night Raw is great. It's fine. It's what it is. But if they told him your contract's not being renewed and he said, I'm being released, it doesn't mean, like, if he has 90 days left, it means that they can use him for up to 90 days. So that's 3 months. If all of a sudden you don't see him after that, are you even going to remember?
Then why'd you put Ron Killings signed?
So I believe, because no one's officially said he's signed a new contract, I believe he signed to a short-term deal. And I believe, but this is what I did hear about it. Are you ready? Are you ready? So Ron Killings did not return WWE phone calls during the first 4 to 5 days after he was told he's no longer going to be used. Did not return a single phone call. Would not answer the phone. They were calling him because of the We Want Truth chants, right?
Mm.
Nick Khan called Ron Killings. We know that immediately after we went off the air last week, that Ron Killings had been offered a smaller deal than what he was making currently. He turned it down. And that's why he said, they're releasing me. Right? We know that. Like, that's all over the internet. Nick Khan apparently called him and said, meet me halfway. And Ron Killings said his needs for it were to be called Ron Killings going forward, not R-Truth. And he wanted that phone call from the head of the overall side of WWE. I mean,
The Rock calling.
Well, no, I mean, Nick Khan is the CEO of the WWE side of TKO. Like, he is as high as it's supposed to go. The Rock is on the board of directors for the entire TKO. So yes, while he's probably higher than Nick Khan, I think it still takes all of those people to fire Nick Khan. Anyways, Ron Killings, basically, to my understanding, did sign a short-term to mid-term deal, probably a year, maybe 6 months, for less money than he was making, but more money than what they originally offered, and probably a better merchandising side, so that he will make more money, but not on his guarantee, right? So kind of like you. So for those out there, Tino and I were talking about Ron Killings and what to expect from him over the next year or so anyway. And I was saying that him being released by WWE was actually a good thing because he's going to get more time in front of people. And for people like us in North Carolina, where he's from Charlotte, we're more likely to see him because he's more likely to do local shows. Right? But yeah, so Ron Killings, not R-Truth, is signed. And apparently the real reason why he wanted that was because using his real name means that if he leaves WWE, his booking value as Ron Killings will be higher going forward.
And he already owns What's Up. He owns his theme music. I mean, he wrote it.
Well, I don't think he owns What's Up because that was R-Truth's theme music, but he does own the theme music from when he was Ron Killings in TNA.
I think I've read somewhere he owns What's Up.
He might. I'm looking to see if there was anything else.
No.
The only other thing that I did want to talk about quickly, and it really is quick, is the fact that these folks wrestled so many matches in a 24-hour period and how impressive it was to me. And there I said it.
Cool.
Folks, I want to remind everybody we have a new theme song tonight. So you may want to, for once, I will actually let it run. It's minute and 45 seconds. Normally I like cutting off the end song at about the 30-second mark. But tonight I do think it's important to sit there and let our new theme song play out, the Potsy and Tino theme. Tino, why don't you tell everybody how to find us?
I can't say 99 no more.
You can.
You can find me. No, you can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me Blue Sky SC Tino. Same thing with I'm tired now. Instagram, and you can find me on TikTok's Tino Argray Music. Tino Argray Music. You can find us here on the Pots and Pan Network every week. We're on Twitter, X, Potsy and Tino, Facebook, Potsy and Tino Show. On here, we want you to give a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, buy our shit. Hopefully, we'll have some Funko Pops or something. Maybe find some Potsy and Tino Funko Pops. That'd be funny.
I mean, I did create some Potsy vinyls, so who knows? Maybe we can figure out a way to do that. We didn't even talk about the biggest wrestling match of all, which happened on X this week between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We don't have to get into it. We're not going to. Folks, I will be at Heroes Convention. Next week, I expect us to have Junior Radke, my cohort on Dreadmutt, here as a special guest. He'll talk wrestling with us, but also talk about Dreadmutt, which we assume will be in next week and ready to go at the show. Sorry to Adam's House Cat. We've had you for 410 episodes of the YouTube show, but I thought it was time that we actually went a new direction with the Potsy and Tino show, and so we've got a new theme song.
Hit it.
And we are gonna be out of here. So thank you, everybody. Last week to nominate Zor for the Ringo Awards, and we will see you next week. Love everybody.
Ready? Ownership and Potsy and Tino.
For the Potsy and Tino show.
Thanks for watching.
Monday night, it's time to go. Turn on the screen, let the good times shows. Wrestling life and who knows what. If it's cool or weird, they're talking it up. It's the Potsy and Tino show. Drop the facts and let opinions blow. Laughs, hot takes, and maybe a rant. Two best buds with the mic in a plan. comment, subscribe, and like. It's time to roll with Potsy and Tino. Let's go!